Ray Dalio doesn't panic when the headlines scream recession. He smiles. While the average investor refreshes their portfolio with sweaty hands, Dalio calmly buys what fear makes cheap and sells what euphoria inflates to stupidity. He doesn't gamble. He doesn't hope. He reads economic cycles like a clockmaker reads gears, precise, predictable, ruthless if you ignore them. For him, a crash is never surprise. It's payday. He didn't become one of the world's richest hedge fund titans by guessing right once. He built his fortune by accepting a truth most people spend their whole lives denying. Markets rise, people get greedy, bubbles pop, blood spills, survivors repeat the same mistakes. Dalio didn't fight that pattern. He turned it into a blueprint. Where the masses see tragedy, he sees a clearance sale on future wealth. In this video, you won't get cheap optimism. You'll get Dalio's raw logic. How debt always starts the fire, how fear fuels it, and how the patient man collects treasure while the reckless beg for bailouts. You'll see how Dalio diversifies so one explosion doesn't kill him, how he trusts data over headlines, and how he uses principles like an iron cage to protect him from his own worst instincts. This isn't get-rich advice for people addicted to dopamine. It's a mental iron suit for builders who want to stay rich when others get wiped out. Dalio's cycle won't save you if you keep pretending every crisis is unprecedented. It will save you if you accept that human nature never changes and use that truth to outplay it. If you can stomach that, you're ready to hear how Dalio profits every time the world panics. So lean in. Take notes, because when the next crash hits, and it will, the man who watched this and built his fortress will thank Dalio silently, while the herd wails about bad luck. This is not luck. This is a map. The question is, will you use it, or will you be the bargain someone like Dalio buys at your expense? Let's find out. Mexi. Lesson 1. Everything moves in cycles. Believe it or stay broke. Ray Dalio's obsession starts with one brutal truth. The economy is never a straight line. It's a loop on repeat. Boom follows bust. Greed follows fear. Prosperity plants the seeds for crisis. Crisis plants the seeds for recovery. This is older than your favorite influencer's hot take. Dalio didn't invent it. He just refused to deny it. That refusal is why his fortune grew every time others lost theirs, crying, "This time it's different." It never is. He sees markets like seasons. Spring, optimism returns, businesses grow. Summer, profits soar. Everyone feels unstoppable. Fall, debt piles up, caution slips, bubbles bloat. Winter, reality snaps the bubble, prices collapse, fear rules, and then spring again. The weak call this chaos. Dalio calls it opportunity. He says, if you respect this rhythm, you won't fear downturns. You'll welcome them as your harvest. Most investors panic because they want certainty in a world that breathes uncertainty. They chase shortcuts, ignore debt, and brag about paper gains, until winter hits and strips them naked. Dalio watches this human drama like a chess grandmaster watches amateurs play checkers. He's not guessing tomorrow's weather. He's preparing for every storm, because storms always come. Fools curse the rain. Dalio sells them umbrellas for profit. He doesn't claim to predict the exact crash day. That's fool's gold. Instead, he reads the signs: debt soaring faster than income, reckless optimism, cheap credit flowing like free beer at a frat party. These clues never lie. When he sees them, he fortifies his portfolio, holds more cash, sets up hedges, and sharpens the axe to cut what must die. He doesn't react in fear. He acts with calm precision. That's the Dalio cycle mindset in action. Your takeaway is savage, but simple. Cycles don't care about your feelings. They don't bend to your hope. You bend to them, or you break. Learn to spot the pattern. Train your mind to stay cold when the world sweats. When others say unprecedented, smile. Dalio has seen this movie 1,000 times. He profits from reruns because he never tries to rewrite the script. He just plays his part, smarter than the rest. Lesson 2. Debt is the root of all bubbles. Master it or be crushed. Ray Dalio's lens is razor-sharp on one enemy: debt. Not because debt is evil, but because uncontrolled debt is a loaded gun pointed at your wealth. He knows every economic bubble, from tulips to tech stocks, inflates the same way. Cheap credit seduces the masses. People borrow more than they earn. Banks loosen rules. Governments print illusions. It feels like free money, until it's not. Then the same debt that built dreams snaps necks in a crash. Dalio treats debt like fire, useful when contained, catastrophic when wild. He studies debt cycles relentlessly. Short-term debt cycles swing every few years. People borrow, spend big, panic, repay or default, repeat. Long-term debt cycles, the monsters, build over decades. Nations stack up IOUs until paying interest alone strangles growth. Dalio maps these like an engineer inspecting a dam before it bursts. He's not shocked when the flood comes. He's standing uphill with a boat ready. While the average person buys houses, cars and toys on credit they don't control, Dalio watches debt-to-income ratios. When debt grows faster than wages, that's a red flag. He doesn't whine about fairness. He sharpens his sword. Tighten investments, increase cash buffers, prepare to swoop in when defaults make assets cheap. While the herd cries about unfair banks and evil billionaires, Dalio plays banker to the broken and profits. He doesn't avoid debt completely. He respects it. He uses leverage surgically, where returns justify the risk and safeguards absorb the shock. He never bets the farm on borrowed money. He never lies to himself that a boom will last forever. He laughs at those who do. He knows bubbles pop faster than they grow. And when they do, the prepared buy prime assets from the desperate for cents on the dollar. Your move: stop fearing debt, start mastering it. If you owe, manage it with eyes open. Don't drown in loans for show-off luxuries. If you invest, watch global debt flows like Dalio does. Housing booms, student loans, national deficits. When debt outpaces reality, trouble is coming. When trouble comes, the cycle resets, and the disciplined get rich cleaning up the mess. Dalio didn't get lucky. He got ready. So should you. Lesson 3. Diversify like a strategist, not a fanboy. Ray Dalio laughs at the gambler who bets everything on one shiny trend. Crypto today, meme stocks tomorrow, blind faith forever. He calls that financial suicide dressed as bravery. Dalio doesn't do single bets. He builds all-weather portfolios, baskets of assets that balance each other like weights on a tightrope. When one stumbles, the others keep him upright. It's not sexy. It's survival. And that's why he's rich when trends die screaming. His principle is simple. The world is unpredictable. Political shocks, pandemics, wars. No crystal ball can time it all. But a smart spread of stocks, bonds, commodities and currencies turns chaos into manageable turbulence. Stocks fuel growth when times are good. Bonds cushion crashes. Commodities hedge inflation. Currencies diversify country risk. Each piece plays its role. That's Dalio's orchestra. The fanboy bets all on the soloist and cries when it misses a note. He calls this system his holy grail of investing. Not because it's perfect, but because it's realistic. Dalio knows that guessing right forever is impossible. So instead, he ensures he can be wrong often and still never get wiped out. He prefers boring safety over thrilling bankruptcy. He'd rather underperform hotshots in boom times than beg for mercy when the tide turns. That's why Bridgewater, his firm, didn't vanish in crises that killed arrogant funds. Most investors forget this when greed takes the wheel. They pile into whatever's trending, convinced this time is different. Dalio watches patiently, waiting for reality to remind them the cycle never loses. When markets swing too wild, diversification turns wild risk into calm math. He doesn't need daily heroics. His portfolio does the heavy lifting while he sleeps. Want to walk Dalio's path? Build your basket. Stop chasing shiny. Study how assets interact as not just alone but together. Learn how inflation hits bonds, how interest rates hit stocks, how currency shifts eat profit. Spread wisely, check often, rebalance like a farmer tending crops. When the next storm hits, and it will, the fanboys drown. You stand dry, counting gains while they search for excuses. Dalio didn't invent the concept. He just made it unbreakable. A lesson 4, timing is a myth. Preparation is king. Ray Dalio never bragged about calling the exact top or bottom. He thinks that's ego bait, a carnival game for fools who need to feel smart. Instead, he arms himself for storms every single day. He doesn't ask if a crash will happen. He knows it will. He doesn't bet everything on guessing the date. He builds walls that hold whether the flood comes tomorrow or next year. While others time markets like gamblers, Dalio prepares like an engineer building a dam. He studies decades of history, tracking patterns most investors can't see past last month's headlines. He watches central banks, political upheavals, debt spikes, warning lights blinking on the dashboard of the global machine. But he never claims clairvoyance. He admits he'll be wrong on timing, so he makes sure he can survive wrongness. That's his edge. He doesn't need to be perfect to win. He just needs to never be ruined. This means cash reserves when everyone mocks holding cash. It means hedging portfolios with assets that rise when others collapse. It means saying no to hype even when his neighbor brags about instant gains. Dalio's system works because it respects uncertainty. He accepts that nobody can outrun risk, but the prepared can outlast it. Most lose big because they ignore this. Profit loves patience more than predictions. People crave perfect calls. When will it crash? When will it boom? Dalio shakes his head. He knows more fortunes die trying to be prophets than grow just being steady farmers. He says, protect yourself, adjust often, and don't get wiped out. If you stay in the game long enough, cycles serve you. If you gamble on lucky guesses, cycles chew you up and spit you out broke and bitter. Your move is simple. Quit worshipping hot tips and do what Dalio does. Build shock absorbers into every dollar you touch. Hold boring assets that balance wild ones. Keep cash when it feels pointless, because someday that dry powder buys castles at pawn shop prices. Dalio's edge isn't that he knows tomorrow. It's that tomorrow can't kill him, because he built armor while everyone else posted predictions for clicks. Taku. Lesson 5. Understand human psychology, or get played by it. Ray Dalio doesn't just study charts, he studies people. He knows markets aren't driven by logic alone. They're whipped around by fear and greed, masquerading as analysis. He watches crowds swing from euphoria to despair on cues that repeat century after century. Dalio's weapon. He steps back while the herd stampedes. He sees the panic before the news does, and the overconfidence before the crash comes. Psychology isn't fluff to him. It's the hidden engine behind every boom and bust. He says the cycle is simple. When times are good, people think they're smarter than they are. They borrow more, risk more, brag louder. Prices inflate on hype, not fundamentals. Then a pin pricks the bubble. Suddenly, genius turns to terror. The same crowd that laughed at caution now begs for bailouts and sells at rock-bottom prices. Dalio doesn't join their comedy. He watches calmly, pocketing bargains they're too scared to touch. While amateurs ask for stock tips, Dalio asks, what does the crowd feel right now? Is fear peaking? Then value hides in plain sight. Is greed peaking? Then run or hedge before the fireworks turn to ashes. He understands human nature. Emotions amplify market swings far more than any spreadsheet can. That's why data plus psychology beats data alone. He built Bridgewater, his hedge fund, to factor in both the hard numbers and the soft panic. Most investors think they're rational. Dalio knows everyone, including himself, has biases. He fights them with principles, rules, and relentless honesty. He debates with his team like a warrior testing armor, hunting for weak spots before reality does. He doesn't trust gut feelings. He trusts systems designed to catch when human stupidity tries to sabotage profit. That's how you survive your own worst enemy, yourself. If you want to copy him, quit acting like your emotions don't matter. They do. They will betray you if you don't train them. Study how crowds overreact. Watch your own fear spike when markets drop. Then do what Dalio does. Breathe, check the facts, and act opposite the panic. In markets, the coldest mind harvests the warmest money. Dalio didn't bend human nature. He rode it like a master. You can too, if you stop pretending you're immune. Lesson 6. Data over drama. See the economy as a machine. While most people focus on the noise, the headlines, the tweets, the daily stock movements, Ray Dalio looks at the economy like a massive, complex machine. Every part has a function. Every gear turns in sync. It's not a living organism reacting to whims. It's a cold, calculating system of inputs and outputs. Dalio doesn't get caught up in the emotional roller coaster of daily fluctuations. Instead, he watches the underlying gears. When one starts to slip, he knows where to adjust before the whole machine breaks down. For Dalio, the market is not about gut feelings or hot tips. It's about understanding the data. What's the level of debt? What's the savings rate? How are interest rates moving? What's the political climate doing to markets? Dalio's edge comes from the fact that he separates himself from the drama. While others panic or celebrate based on superficial news, he zooms out and sees the structural changes that others miss. The economy is a machine. If you can read the machine, you can predict where it's headed. Most investors look at a sudden market shift and freak out. Dalio stays calm, measuring the key factors that drive change. Markets aren't driven by emotional swings in the short term. They're driven by long-term trends, debt accumulation, inflation, credit cycles, and shifts in the global power structure. Dalio watches the same things year after year and knows that understanding them is the key to surviving and thriving through crises. He doesn't chase after the flavor of the month or get distracted by media hype. If anything, the drama makes him laugh. While others fumble with short-term emotional decisions, Dalio sticks to his principles. When the markets react, he waits. He watches how the data shifts, checks his models, and makes his moves based on logic, not hysteria. This is how you build wealth that outlasts the next bubble, the next crash, the next panic. Your takeaway is clear. If you want to build real wealth, stop letting the drama of the moment control you. Focus on the long-term data. Understand the bigger picture. Learn to see the economy as Dalio does, a system of moving parts. When you can read that system, you'll never be surprised by the next crisis. You'll be ready to profit from it. Lesson 7. Principles over predictions. Ray Dalio knows that predicting the future is a fool's errand. Markets are unpredictable. Politics is chaotic. Human behavior is a labyrinth of greed, fear, and hope. But while most investors are trying to outguess the future, Dalio focuses on one thing: principles. These are the rules that remain constant, no matter how much the world shakes. Predicting the exact day the crash will come. That's impossible. But understanding how the cycle works, what triggers it, and what your reaction should be, that's something Dalio mastered, and it's what separates him from everyone else. Dalio's principle-driven approach isn't just about rules. It's about living with a mindset that's immune to the whims of fortune. He doesn't sit around making predictions, waiting for the next stock market crash or boom to hit. He follows his principles, no matter what the market or the media throws at him. This is why he stays calm when others panic. He knows that crisis is a cycle, and no cycle lasts forever. He builds his strategies around these principles, ensuring that no matter what happens, he can ride the storm. Most investors live and die by predictions, trying to guess which way the market is going, hoping they're right. Dalio's approach is the opposite. Instead of focusing on predicting the unpredictable, he builds strategies that can adapt to any situation. He knows the market will change, and his principles ensure that he's always prepared. This is why Dalio's wealth continues to grow, while others are left clutching at straws when the next crash arrives. When you rely on principles, you're never blindsided by the uncertainty of predictions. Principles act as a foundation that guides every decision Dalio makes. They give him the clarity to recognize opportunities when they appear and the discipline to stay the course when others are jumping off a sinking ship. His approach is simple. Stick to what you know, trust the patterns, and follow the principles that have worked in the past. It's not about being right. It's about being prepared, no matter what the future holds. His principles have made him one of the most successful investors in the world. If you want to build lasting wealth, stop obsessing over predictions. Learn to focus on the timeless principles that govern markets, people, and the world. Adapt, adjust, and build your strategy around the things that won't change, no matter how chaotic the world may get. Dalio's formula for success isn't based on trying to predict the future. It's based on mastering the timeless principles that have always governed human behavior and financial markets. You can tremble at the next economic earthquake, or you can sharpen your tools now, like Dalio did when no one was watching. Take these lessons seriously. Stop pretending that next time will be different. It won't be. Crashes don't change. Only the names of the victims do. The patient, the disciplined, the prepared, they rise when everyone else drowns. Ray Dalio didn't invent the cycle. He just refused to lie to himself about it. And so must you. So close this video and open your eyes. Train for the storm, build for the aftermath. The lazy will curse the rain, the master will own the flood. See you in the next video, where I'll show you how to turn chaos into capital. Until then, choose your side, the fool or the master.